Well, we had more cloud cover this morning, but already by 4 o'clock it was starting to burn off. And then by this evening, it was pretty much wall-to-wall sunshine for that sunset, already getting into the 50s there by that 7 p.m. hour for a beautiful sunset here in West Texas. And as we compare that to the past 24 hours, you can see got down pretty cool last night. We bottomed out at right about 40 degrees. Then we got that sunshine going, got nice and warm today to about 58 degrees. Nice light jacket weather out there. And we're starting to lose that sunshine, already cooling off past that point we got to last night, already down to that 39-degree mark. So we're going to see how cool we end up getting in these overnight hours. As we're looking at those current conditions, 39 degrees here in San Angelo, 45 for Junction, 41 for both Sonora and Ozona, and then 42 degrees there in Brady. And as we get a good look at the entire region, we're seeing those 30s and 40s across the entire area. 38 there in Eden, 36 in Menard, 47 up there in Robert Lee. So we're seeing a fair spread of these temperatures, but we're all going to be cooling off into those 30s going into these overnight hours and possibly flirting even with that freezing mark. So definitely be cautious of that going into these overnight hours as well. As we're looking at that dew point and relative humidity for that rainfall, really not looking too great right now. 38 there in Junction as we're seeing 77% humidity. Going to be good for some cloud cover, but we're looking for a little bit more moisture if we're going to get some rain. Only 27 degrees there up in Sterling City for that dew point, 29 for Robert Lee, and then 28 for Mertzen, where they're seeing that 66% humidity. So not going to be quite enough to get that rain, but as we're looking at this moisture tracker over the next couple of days, you can see we're flirting with that line of that moisture and dry air. Over the next couple of days, we'll see a little bit more of that moisture come in with that southerly flow starting to come in as soon as tomorrow. By Wednesday, that's where we start to see enough of that moisture as well as some upper level dynamics we'll take a look at in a second that come into play. And with that moisture for Wednesday and Thursday, that's going to be nice and going to be inducing a lot of rain going into Thursday and potentially into this weekend as well. As we're looking at that on the upper level pattern, we're seeing a nice shortwave go through for Tuesday and Wednesday. Could bring just some cloud cover into the area, but by Wednesday into Thursday, that's where we see this major trough really starting to dig into the west coast there, and that's where it's going to start feeding some energy into Texas and the Concho Valley. By that Thursday to Friday time frame, you see that really starting to push in. Still by Saturday, seeing that sitting over centered over California and Arizona, still feeding in some moisture from the Pacific and some energy over the Concho Valley as well. So that's going to be aiding that rain going into next weekend. As we're looking at the current satellite and radar, though, you can see pretty much high pressure across the entire central United States. Here in Texas, not going to be too much activity, not seeing any precipitation, just a little bit of cloud cover there coming off that subtropical jet, feeding off the Pacific Ocean, but like I said, unfortunately not any rainfall coming from this right now. As we're looking at this futurecast going into this week, you can see by Wednesday, seeing a little bit of moisture really starting to come in there, but by Thursday, that's where the main moisture really starts to come in with those upper level dynamics starting to come into play for Thursday. By Friday, that rain's still sticking around. This one's going to be that Euro model. So the Euro and the GFS are timing this out with different intensity, so that's something we're going to be looking at going into this week. But you can see by Friday, we still have that rain across the Concho Valley, and then into Saturday as well. This is the Euro, still has a little bit more rain. So going to be nice and looking at that going into next weekend, because as we're looking at this drought monitor issued this week, starting to see a little bit more of those abnormally dry conditions creeping their way more into the area, but with that moderate drought starting to push off a little bit further from Junction. So we're kind of going back and forth with those drought conditions. As we're looking at tonight, though, cooling off nicely, about 35 degrees as we see those partly cloudy conditions. Tomorrow starting that warm up already, getting to about 65 degrees as we see mostly cloudy conditions. Can't rule out a stray shower out there for mainly our southern counties. And remember, we have that daylight savings, so make sure to set those clocks ahead tonight, as it's going to jump from 2 to 3 a.m. So go ahead and get those clocks set ahead, or I'll make sure to remind you tomorrow if you forget. I know I'm someone who tends to forget that one. As we're looking at that 7-day forecast, you can see we're really starting that warm. We're getting into those 70s by Monday and Tuesday. By Wednesday, we see those 80s pushing in. Thursday, that has that cold front dropping us to the 60s for the weekend, as well as bringing that good rain chance into the area. That's all for your 7-day forecast, but now we'll head on back to Shelby.